go on with it. Do us. So we are coming with a force. Yeah. Blessing the reap and we course.
All right, y'all. We are back to talk about the Real Housewives of New Jersey season. Hold on, y'all. Season 13, episode 3, entitled Boys Will Be Boys, okay? So the episode starts off where basically Teresa and, what is her sister-in-law's name? Melissa. Bear with me, y'all. It's late, and I'm trying to get this out for y'all. Teresa and Melissa are having a discussion. They're still talking about this whole seating arrangement thing. And Melissa is just at a point where she's like, listen, I'm just going to lay my hands down. I don't want to fight with you no more. Like, at this point, I am so tired of trying to monitor my speech, worried about how it's going to make you feel whenever I say something. Girl, do you, boo-boo. Live your best life. I am not going to be an obstacle in your way, okay? And so Teresa's like, well, do you want to be in my wedding? You can be in my wedding. If that's what you really want, if that will make you happy, you can be in my wedding. And Melissa's like, oh, no, ma'am. No, you're not about to give me no secondhand invite into your little wedding. No, that's like a ex-boyfriend leaving and trying to come back. I am not chopped liver. No, ma'am. I am okay. I don't need to be in your wedding. I am so happy for you. I am probably the happiest for you ever. Like, I am so supportive of you. Girl, leave me alone. Leave me alone, okay? So, child, I hope that they can just move on because I am so over it. So in the next scene, we go to Dolores's house, okay? So Frank was not able to be in the original photo shoot because he wasn't feeling well. She said something about him not having a bowel movement for 12 hours or something like that. So Frank is coming over. Paulie is there. She's folding clothes and whatnot at her house. And Paulie is basically, they're having little banter back and forth talking about Frank. So Frank comes in the house and they have a conversation about their family dynamic. He said, listen, Paulie is like, yeah, it's something I had to get used to, but, things are changing. Like, you could have had a conversation with me about this boys' night out thing and getting my information instead of going through her or whatever the case may be. Like, it's time for me to I'm going to step up to the plate for her. You ain't got to worry about that. You communicate with me if you want to talk to me about something, but matters of Dolores and whatever she got going on financially, physically, emotionally, I got that. You ain't got to worry about that no more. I understand y'all little dynamic that y'all have, but it's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Paulie, okay? Listen, I think that Frank is so used to Dolores doing everything for him and like being there like a wife, but he doesn't have to really take care of her like a wife. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that it's time for them to move on from being each other's crutch. You've raised your children, they are grown. Like, y'all can be cool or whatever. Y'all don't have to hate each other. But at the end of the day, y'all relationship is very different now. And y'all need to go ahead and start embracing that so that Dolores can be happy. So moving on, Jackie, Melissa, and Margaret go to lunch together. So Jackie is embracing her new life of trying to come out of her anorexia on the positive side of things. Therapy is really helping her. And so they talk about, basically they're there to catch her up on what's going on with the whole mozzarella party and all this, that, and the third, because her ass was not invited, okay? So they were like, yeah, she said you was looking her up and down, sis. Like, what gives? And she was like, yeah, I was. Because Jackie's like, yeah, I was looking her up and down because she was so tacky. Like, she just took her shorts out of the dryer. Like, oh my God. Jackie, let me tell you something. You looking them girls up and down because you're hating. You're mad that you're not full-time on the show, sis. Just stop. Let's stop playing around. Listen, I guess you weren't interesting enough, which I think her story was compelling enough last season to get her back on full time. But my thing is, you need to be focusing on getting yourself back in order, not stressing about being on this show. Get your eating habits together. Like, you on a show with a bunch of Italian women that's eating pasta and cheese and all this, and most of them, still small, just like Jackie is, but they don't have body image issues. So I think it's important for her to really focus on that and get her life in order instead of worrying about being on this show, because I think that this is just another added something for her to worry about. How do I look on camera? Is everybody paying attention to what I'm eating? Stuff like that. You don't need that. Take a season off. And if you're interesting enough, maybe they'll bring you back. But I hate to tell you, the new girls is really bringing it already. And it's only episode 3. So, girl, I don't know. The chances is very slim for you, sis. I'm just saying. So, better luck next time. So Rachel is having a photo shoot for their oldest daughter, okay? She looks like she's maybe about 1 or 2 years old, something like that. So she's basking in the glory of her daughter and how beautiful and amazing she is. And, you know, most parents, of course, they think their kid looks better than everybody else's kid. And she's experiencing this right now, talking about that. So in the midst of that, we learned that she had a miscarriage at one point and her body couldn't take holding the baby. So she had to undergo IVF. So now they have 2 beautiful, amazing little girls. And she gets emotional during the photo shoot thinking, you know, wow, you know, this is so amazing that I was able to do this and bring these 2 into the world. And they have 5 other embryos that she wants to use. At least she wants to have 1 more kid. So she tells her husband, you know, listen, I know Jaden is my son, like I love him, but, you know, don't you think 4 kids would be great? And he's like, well, if that's what you want to do, but, you know, maybe not right now. Let's just wait. Because I think she just had a baby like 3 months ago. So I'm like, girl, baby, let's let your body heal, honey. It takes a year for your body to heal after you have a baby. Like, I get it. Some people always are like, let's just hurry up and get them in back to back to back so we can get it over with. But it's okay to let your body heal. You up here bragging about being born in 91. Let the youth that's on your side help you, okay? So, you know, prayerfully they can have the baby in a time that works for both of them. Because yes, while she's saying, why does he care? I'm the one that's going to get cut open. He's still the dad. Like, he's an active parent. So he's probably like, let me try to get some rest. Like, let my body adjust from sleepless nights of 2 little small children. Like, and you want to add another one to the mix? Like, maybe he ain't really ready for that yet. I think this needs to be a joint decision and she shouldn't rush it. You do have 2 small children right now. Ride it out for a little bit, sis. So moving on, in the next scene, Teresa is sitting down talking to Gia. Gia is eating a salad and she's on her way down to the shore to be cool and hang out with her friends. So Teresa says she wants to lose 10 more pounds, which I'm like, girl, where? In your forehead? Because you are already small enough. So anyway, she's talking about the wedding, and then they end up having a conversation about Melissa some sort of way. How she was saying how she was telling Gia how she asked Melissa to be in the wedding and she declined. And, you know, how they hashed out all the stuff that was going on and what have you. And Gia was like, I wish you hadn't asked her to be in the wedding. So then her other daughter, the one that's always really quiet, I can't remember. I hate that I forgot her name. But all of them got a G in their name, I believe, or I don't know. Anyway, she comes down and she gets so upset over, like, Teresa's like, I know you don't like to get in the middle of the drama, whatever, but, you know, it really bothers me that Melissa tried to make it seem like, you know, she was really there for you guys when I was away, and, you know, she really wasn't. And then here come Louis bringing in his 2 cents. Like, he wasn't even there at all during that time that Teresa was gone. Here's my whole thing. You know, you got your daughter over here breaking out in hives because it's bothering her so much. I don't know if it's so much of what y'all are talking about or the fact that she's on camera and she's really introverted and she don't really like to be on camera even after all these years of her growing up on camera. It could still have an effect on her body. Like, she may not really like to do it. And for Teresa to be forcing her into these conversations, like, she doesn't want to talk about it. These are things that bother her. Melissa is her godmother. Why do you keep on bringing your children into your drama? And Louis, you weren't even here. So I need you to mind your business and stop egging this stuff on. You supposed to be Captain Therapy. Why don't you try to get Joe and Melissa and Teresa into therapy together? How about that? Maybe that's what you need to do to try to fix this family, because all of them are screwed up. to be clear. Okay, Teresa has these unrealistic expectations of people around her, and Joe has a revisionist history of things that have gone on. So both of them have issues. Both of them have unrealistic expectations of each other. And both of them seem to want to blame everything on their spouses. Joe want to blame it on Louis while him and his sister not getting along or whatever. And Teresa want to blame everything on Melissa when Melissa just want to throw her hands up and mind her business and keep it pushing. She don't even want to be in the middle of any of y'all drama. So, child, unbelievable. So in the next scene, we see Danielle go to New York with Melissa. They're in some studio buying clothing. Danielle, we learn that she has a passion. She was working a job, but she had a passion for dressing her kids. So she has a business now called Bougie Kids. So she dresses her daughter up. They have matching outfits, things like that. And Teresa child. Melissa is going to buy clothes for Envy because it's a new season. And Melissa likes to do it because it's like she really just picks out outfits that she would like. So she brings them into her store, which I think is great because it's a really true testament to her really putting her eye on the things that she likes and putting them into her store and selling it. So, moving on, they begin to talk about Danielle's relationship with her brother and how it's strained right now because basically Danielle is crossing boundaries in relationships. It all started with the brother. Danielle was basically doing videos on social media and the brother thought it was silly. So she blocked him because she didn't like the fact that he was making fun of her videos, but she was making money off of doing the videos online. So he's like, you blocked me on social media? And she's like, well, yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was a big deal. You were making fun of my videos anyway. So that was just the start of it all. Then he, said because she blocked him that he's going to take her out of the wedding. They're not invited or they couldn't be in the wedding anymore, whatever the case may be. Then all of a sudden it got to the point where she was trying to make all these suggestions about what the wife should do for the wedding and whatnot. Just basically putting her tooth in things that it didn't belong in. You can't be sinking your teeth into other people's business. Brush them and leave them in your mouth and mind your business, okay? And she seemed to be meddling. And so he stepped up. Instead of the wife having to tell her, he basically made the decision like, listen, this is our family, our wedding. This is what we're going to do. Mind your business. That's all. We didn't ask you. Move along. So now you're not invited at all. So she's blaming the sister-in-law, saying, well, she could have, gotten us back together and it's her fault. I think it's her. Italian people have a real jacked up way of thinking. Like, why is it the woman's fault that a man is making decisions for his family? He's probably like, listen, this is my wife. I am going to honor my wife. I have to cling. The Bible says to cling to your wife. Leave and cleave, okay? So he's in the cleaving process, all right? He's leaving the family, which of course he still loves you and you're still going to be a part of his life if you don't act crazy like you're doing. But he has to do things with his wife. It's going to be them till death do they part. And I think a lot of times families don't get that. They're so involved and so far into your business that they're so used to doing that they don't know any other way. And so it was very triggering for Melissa because she's like, listen, you sound just like Teresa. Like, this is the same thing that Teresa does. And I can see that. Like, where Melissa at the beginning of the episode, she was very willing to make up with Teresa and just be done with it. Joe is the one that has problems with Teresa, and they don't know how to communicate, air things out, solve it, and leave it there. Teresa, as we can see with her daughters, likes to rehash stuff. Joe doesn't like to be disrespected, and he likes to rehash things too. Those two need to go to the therapist and stop blaming it on everybody else. Louis is just trying to be a pick-me, and he just agrees with whatever Teresa says because he wants her to keep on effing him 7 times a day, child. This is just messy, and it don't even have to be. And I think poor Melissa, she's just like, listen, leave me out of it. Because I really, truth be told, I I don't really, frankly, my dear, I don't give a. This scene with Bill and Jennifer was very interesting. Jennifer is in the house with the children looking like mom's Mabley, and just a hot mess. I just, child. So she's telling the kids that she gonna pay them to do their daggone chores. She's like, what's minimum wage? Like $13, $14? Yeah, we'll pay you. We'll pay you per hour. And she wants to bring up the whole infidelity thing with her husband, saying that this is her, she has a soft spot for her children. She loves them so much. And it was so hard getting them through the whole infidelity stuff. Let me tell you something. Them kids is manipulating you. Okay? They don't bit more. That is so old and in their rear view. They see both of their parents together. They're fine. You are still butthurt over it, not them kids, okay? And the kids didn't have to know anything about it if you didn't talk about it. Cause you another one that use your kids as a daggone therapist and a sounding board like Teresa does, okay? So she ends up sitting down with Bill and she talks to him about all the things, the kids, when they clean up, she seems like she has to go back and do it anyway. And she was late for the mozzarella party because she had to go pick up one of their kids and do something and drop them off or whatever the case may be. So she says that Margaret said that she's not self-aware. And she asked him plain and simple, do you think I'm self-aware? And he goes around a whole lane the opposite direction and says, well, I think we all, basically, Bill don't think you self-aware, sis. He don't. He don't think you self-aware. He didn't want to hurt your feelings. And she keeps on saying, well, have my back. Why don't you ever have my back? And all this stuff. Listen, you and Teresa, that's why y'all so cool. Having your back doesn't mean agreeing with you all the time. Because you're not that smart, Jennifer. You sound real dumb a lot. And you say things that don't make any sense. So just because I'm your friend, that doesn't mean I have to agree with, or just because that's your husband, it doesn't mean that he has to agree with everything you say and do. It's okay for him to provide you with other solutions and other options if that's what it so needs to be done. I don't get these housewives that think that everybody's supposed to kiss their tail to be around them, and that if you don't agree with them, then it's a problem. Jennifer is not self-aware. Jennifer is very self-absorbed, and her husband sees that. And he looks at her every day when I see him looking at her just like, what do you even do all day? You just in here spending my money, giving it to these baby kids of ours. Just making them so entitled. And you just in here just wasting my years. Like, child, Jennifer, unbelievable. So we're introduced to more of Danielle's family. Her mom and her father come over, and they have a cute little ceremony, art show for her youngest daughter, Valentina. Now, her daughter, Valentina, and her oldest, Dominic, I think is his name. That's her son's name. They're very close. So little Valentina, she comes downstairs. She's so cute. She presents her artwork and whatnot. Everybody is so excited to see it and proud of her, and they cheer her on. She wasn't able to do it at school because of a C-19 issue. So she did it. She presented it for her family, and she was so proud of her pieces. I think she did like 4 photos. They were all really, really cute. So the kids, of course, go and play in their respective areas, and they leave the adults to talk. So Danielle, of course, says, this is the first time my brother wasn't here to see, something that Valentina was doing, which I'm like, I find that hard to believe if y'all haven't been talking for 2 years, but okay, because baby girl looked real small. But anyway, the dad gets really emotional because he's like, you guys were so close. Like, I don't know what happened. Apparently, the mom is not talking to him either. Maybe she's, kind of drawing a line in the sand to protect her daughter. And then the dad is just like the only one that's talking to both of them. And he got really emotional. And he says, I hear it in my head 9,000 times. Is that my baby brother? And they played a video where Danielle was really excited when her little brother was born. And you know what? I really hope that the brother sees this and really just finds it in his heart to talk to his sister, because life is too short and they are really arguing over some silly stuff. And it's a running theme to blame the spouses. Like, even then, she's like, well, maybe I'm going to make sure that, Dominic doesn't marry a mega B, because it would just really kill me if him and Valentina weren't as close as they are. And I'm like, girl, call your brother. Stop blaming it on his wife. Like, I think this is really silly. And so with that being said, we roll right into Melissa and Joe. Melissa and Joe are at their shore house with their kids, and her mom and her sister come by. So they all come outside and sit down to have lunch or whatever. By the way, Antonia, girl, you got a rack, don't you, girl? That is called blessings on blessings, honey. People are out here getting those things that you got naturally done. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna have to put 2 sports bras on sis, because she's just growing up a little too fast. Oh my goodness. But okay, Antonia, you getting older now. Okay, I hope you know what to do with those babies. Be careful, all right? Just be careful. But anyway, so they all sit down, and Melissa, they were kind of talking about Teresa and Louis, of course. And then Melissa asked, was her mom and her sister invited to the wedding? And they said, no, we didn't get any invitations. So Joe immediately gets pissed off, and so does Melissa. My thing is, let me say this. Teresa is not entitled to invite your entire family, Melissa. This is not your wedding. It's her wedding. I don't know why y'all keep getting so bent out of shape over this stuff. Let that lady invite who she wants to her daggone wedding. And weddings are not cheap. Y'all think that somebody's supposed to just pay for, your kid's first swim teacher to come to the daggone wedding. If Teresa don't talk to your mother and your sister like that, why is she inviting them to your wedding? To her wedding. And Joe, are you going to put up some money for all of this? I just don't, that wouldn't even bother me that they weren't invited. Who cares? Who freaking cares? Now I get it. Melissa is like, well, Teresa ain't talking to half her damn family. So she only talking to her brother. So when it came time to introduce Louis to family, she only could introduce him to her family, because that was all that they had. By the way, Melissa's sister is gorgeous. She is very pretty, and her mother is aging well too. So Melissa, kudos to your family, okay? Because all of y'all are some attractive women. I love it. I love to see it. But your mama and your sister don't need to go to Teresa's wedding. Like, you barely halfway like the girl. Why would you even care about them being at her wedding? All of this is just a bunch of minutia and stupidity. I wouldn't even care. I wouldn't even want to go to the wedding if I was the sister or the mother. Because why? Who gives a shish? Y'all don't like each other. Y'all don't fool with each other. Let's just stop being fake. Okay? So y'all, in this last scene, all the guys get together. Frankie, this is the event that Frankie had put together to have all the guys come together, that he invited Paulie to in the beginning of the episode. But Paulie was saying, I don't know if me and Lord, what's her dang on name? Me and Dolores have anything to do. So, I don't know. So I asked Dolores if we had anything to do. So that's why I didn't respond. And then Frankie talks about how he asked Dolores to text Paulie, and Paulie is like, you don't send somebody else to do a man's job. Basically, like, if you want to talk to me, sir, text me yourself, okay? But Paulie said he had to work, child, aka I don't want to come, okay? Which Frankie, I'm sure, Frank is probably happy about that, because the less that Paulie comes around, the more he can secure his spot on the show and i.e. continue to get a check. Moving on. All the guys are there, and Joe is pretty much expressing how upset he is that Teresa is not inviting Melissa's family to the wedding. He's like, that's family. I think this is very disrespectful. Louis is not doing anything about it. I'm like, what is y'all problem with blaming people's spouses? Go to the source. Go to the source. And most of the time, the woman is the one that's setting the wedding up anyway, and it's your sister. Ask your sister why she didn't invite Melissa's family. And you got to be okay with if she didn't want to. That's okay too. It's her wedding. So Louis comes because Joe was sitting there talking big SHI about Louis before he knew that he was coming, because he thought Louis wasn't coming. So Louis walks in all happy go lucky, saying maybe the guys should hang out and then the ladies hang out and then we all just go hang out together afterwards. Like, he's so excited. He about to get married. He's so stupid. He don't know. But anyway, Joe was like, who you're going to invite to your bachelor party? And he's like, I don't know, close people. Why? Why are you asking? He's like, well, your wedding, I just heard that you didn't invite Melissa's family to the wedding. And so Louis is basically like, what's it to you? Why don't you talk to Teresa about that? I think that you guys have some things that you guys need to iron out. Why is it that you're constant? Why is it my fault? Like, if you want them invited, ask Teresa. He's like, how many people do you have coming to the wedding? He's like, I don't know, maybe a little over 200, but what does that have to do with anything? If you want them to be invited, why don't you talk to Teresa about it? And I agree with Louis, because this whole back and forth where Joe is blaming Louis, Teresa is blaming Melissa, y'all acting like y'all scared to have a conversation with each other. Y'all are supposed to be brother and sister and supposed to be so tough, tight, and so close, and that's your only family member left and all this BS. Y'all need to stop playing around and have a conversation like adults. Be grown-ups. Like, what in the world? I just don't understand how these grown people at their big age don't know how to problem solve. It's very unbelievable. I don't understand. And y'all expect other people around you to solve your problems when you are the one that's creating, living in, or experiencing the problem. Solve it yourself. And with all this therapy that Teresa is going to, I don't know why she don't just suggest for her and Joe to go to therapy, because they clearly need it. This whole stuff with Teresa and Melissa and Joe and Louis and Teresa and Joe, I'm just about daggone had it up to here with it. I'm about sick of it. Y'all have a conversation, because y'all about to piss me the hell off. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody else that's watching this show too. And please hit that notification bell so you will know when I upload a video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.